Hey guys, what's going on? So today I'm excited because today I'm going to be talking about these Grail boots right here. These are my new Mark Albert boots in Whiskey Shell Cordovan. Now let me start out by saying that this is a rare Shell Cordovan. I'm most familiar with Shell Cordovan from the Horween Tannery. In fact, most people are. The more I have collected boots and the more that I've studied different leathers, there's some different tanneries in the world that actually produce Shell Cordovan, and one of those is the Shinki Haikaku Tannery in Japan. They specialize in horse leathers, different colors of Shell Cordovan. If you see these different like Indonesian type boot makers using Shell Cordovan, typically 9 times out of 10 it seems to come from the Shinki Tannery. Yeah, so Mark Albert, they did a limited run of these. Looking at their Instagram, they talked about how it was kind of a risk for them to do this leather because they've never done Shell Cordovan before. He was talking about how on the Instagram he was kind of nervous and he was very closely monitoring the construction of each pair because he wanted to make sure that he got it exactly right. In my opinion, they came out very phenomenal. It's a very interesting leather. First off, the whiskey is sort of a yellowish color. I guess other whiskey that I'm used to seeing like from the Horween Tannery, like I've seen Whiskey Alden makeups, and trying to think, it's like a medium chocolate brown color, whereas this is more of a yellow. So let's talk about the boot a little bit. So we have it's similar to a Dynite sole there. It's got the mini studs. It is not a Dynite sole. It's actually, all it says is It's Hide Commando. Apparently that's a brand of sole. I'm not too familiar with it, but Mark Albert uses it. We got cap toe, and then we've got rawhide laces on here, and then a contrasting brown tongue, which I love. I think that's a great touch. When these boots came, they actually came with these thin cotton laces, and actually it was difficult for me to lace them up well with those thin laces, but thank God they also came with these rawhide laces, which if you've been following me for a while, then you know that I am a fan of the rawhide laces. So I threw the rawhide laces in there, and they hold the eyelets in place just perfectly, because with Shell Cordovan, Shell is the most non-porous leather in the world. It doesn't stretch at all. It's pretty stiff, and so it's kind of a stubborn leather. I needed the stubborn laces to sort of hold the stubborn leather together on my foot, if that makes sense. Also, these are Goodyear welted, and then we've got a backstay here. And I did notice on the Mark Albert website, the backstay did get some comments. As you can see, it is not your typical backstay or your heel counter. Typically with what you see with Alden and Viberg and Truman is the backstay actually kind of has more of a bulbous protrusion back here, whereas this one's closer to being straight up. If you can see that, it's like a straight up backstay. And that caught a lot of people off guard. That didn't catch me off guard because when you look at the pictures, while they were doing the pre-order, they looked like this. So they didn't change the design at all. So it's not the traditional type of a backstay that you're used to seeing on a service boot. Typically, like I said, it's more of a bulbous protrusion in the back here to sort of form to the ball of the foot or the back of the ankle. To me, I find it's very comfortable. There's nothing odd about the way that it feels on my foot at all. I think it feels great. It's just a style thing. And even Mark Albert himself, he said it's just the style of backstay that we chose for this. So I don't have any complaints about that at all. So I have worn these a few times. I am getting some creasing up here. And what's also interesting is I wore these in the rain a couple times, and there were some water spots that sort of formed on there. And that kind of surprised me. I did a little research, and apparently there's nothing anybody can do to predict water spots. Apparently it happens with Shell Cordovan, and it's nothing to freak out about. There's no way to tell if a particular hide of Shell Cordovan is going to form these water spots or not. It's just kind of the luck of the draw. It's really dependent on the actual animal and the characteristics of that hide, apparently. I can say that the Shell Cordovan Alden cap toes that I have, those are my go-to rain boots because they're like impervious to the rain and to the weather. But these, yeah, almost immediately started forming water spots. Now again, that's not anybody's fault. It's not Mark Albert's fault, obviously. It is kind of an interesting thing. Me personally, my philosophy on that is I like that. I like when a leather shows its imperfections and its depth and its complexities. I think that's really cool, and I think that makes them even more unique. So for me, that's actually a good thing. I like that it's creasing and that it's forming water spots. I'm not looking to keep these things in pristine condition throughout the life of the boot. I like patina, and I like patina in all of its forms and in all of the ways that it comes. So I am not picky in that regard. So let's look at what it said on the Mark Albert website, "We deem this new and extremely limited Uptown boot the holy grail of our entire lineup. For those who are unfamiliar or curious as to why these boots are roughly $400 more than our other styles, it's because shell cordovan is the Rolex of leathers. Shell comes from the inside hind legs of a horse, and it is known for its tight grain and mirror-like shine. This particular shell is from a tannery that only tans horse leather. Shinki Haikaku has been tanning leather in Japan since 1951. For perspective, one shell piece costs upwards of $150, and it takes at least 2 per pair of boots, plus labor and other materials. Therefore, these are not cheap." This style includes Shinki Haikaku Whiskey Shell Cordovan, brown Horween Chrome XL tongue. So the tongue is brown Horween Chrome XL, fully lined with veg tanned cowhide. Okay, on the inside there. Oh, interesting. I didn't notice that before. Okay. 8 small brass eyelets, full leather pour-on combination insole, 360-degree Goodyear welt construction, veg tanned leather midsole. It's called It's Hide Studded Sole, stacked leather heel. This is just a brilliant pair of boots. In fact, the second they got in, I messaged Mark Albert on his Instagram, and I just expressed my excitement. I was overcome with joy when these arrived because, well, first off, I've been seeing rare shell cordovan on Instagram. A lot of the guys that I follow have it, and it's something that I've had my eye on for a number of years now. Secondly, it's in my favorite style, which is the service boot style. We're talking cat toe, we're talking studded Dynite style type sole, we're talking rawhide leather laces, just like my Viberg service boots. This is one of my favorite styles of boot. So not only did I get a long coveted leather that I wanted, but I got it in the exact style of boot that I wanted too. So I messaged him and I was just super excited, and you know, he was kind of blown away by my reaction, but I can't help but get excited about this stuff sometimes. I will say that, wow, the depth of the hide is phenomenal. When you look at this leather, it's got very interesting high and low tones. It's also got interesting striations going on, especially along the sides. In fact, the sides are my favorite part because it just shows the depth of the color. And as I wear them, they're taking on really cool creasing all throughout here, and I'm super excited to continue wearing these. They're so cool, and I've never had a leather like this before. This is nothing like Horween's shell cordovan. The Shinki shell cordovan is quite different in a lot of ways that I haven't even begun to realize yet. This is just kind of a cursory overview of my observations so far, because I'm going to continue to learn from this pair, if that makes sense, as time goes on, because it's unlike anything I've ever owned before. On the Mark Albert website, he wears these with black denim a lot. I think they look fantastic with black denim. I mean, they'll look good with dark blue denim, raw denim, and a lot of other things, but black denim really makes these things pop. These yellowish whiskey color boots really pop against black denim very well. I'll read a little bit about the Shinki tannery. Again, I'm just so unfamiliar with it, and whenever I've looked at these different Indonesian type boot makers, they source from the Shinki shell. The Shinki Haikaku tannery in Himeji, Hyogo Prefecture. Shinki Haikaku is a family-run business with a long-standing history. They were established in 1951, and they have remained a boutique tannery devoted solely to horse leather. Shinki Haikaku is the only tannery to specialize in horse leather globally, and as such is able to produce extremely unique signature leathers. Their tanning processes involve drying and aging stages that take up to 4 months and produce unique texture and grain. Doing some research on Shinki Haikaku, I actually found on RockyMountainLeatherSupply.com they sell different shades of it. This has my brain going now because I'm thinking about maybe reaching out to Mark Albert and asking if I could send them some, because you could actually order this hide and send it. Well, I don't know. I have to confirm this. But you could order different sizes of it. They have deep blue, they have olive green, cherry red, black, burgundy, cedar. Oh, cedar's nice. Cognac, camel. Camel looks like just a slightly even more yellow version of this whiskey. Obviously, I'm eyeing that olive green though. Because like he was saying, you had to order 2 pieces of it at $150 each. So already the uppers cost $300. That's not counting labor, like he said on the Mark Albert website. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask him if I could send him some olive green and see if he'll make me a pair in the olive green, because that is, oh, that's a beautiful leather. All right, anyway, so as far as sizing goes, okay, so I talked about this in my last video with the Coyote Rough Out pair. I kind of went on this side tangent of how to size with Mark Albert. After my Coyote Rough Outs arrived, I had those in an 8.5D. In my Alden size and my True Balance size, my very last size, I wear 8.5D in Alden. And the Mark Alberts are in their D width a lot more narrow than the Alden True Balance last in their D width. So as soon as they arrived, I reached out to Mark Albert. Thankfully, it was before they started producing these, and I had him up the width from a D to an E. And I'm very happy that I did, because 8.5E I would say is equivalent to the Alden 8.5D in terms of width. The length, I think the length is about the same. Some people have said that the Mark Alberts are shorter, and that might be true. I wouldn't always opt for an E width, but in this case, since shell is so unforgiving, because shell does not stretch. I mean, it does stretch, but it doesn't stay stretched. It can stretch out a little bit and then it bounces right back. It's a very stubborn leather. It will crease, but it does not stretch. For that reason, I increased to an E width, and I'm really glad that I did, because otherwise it might have been too narrow. It might have suffocated my foot. That's not to say I'm always going to order an E width with Mark Albert. Like I said, with the kudu leathers, with certain leathers, I will stay D, because I know that the D width is still fine, and I know that it will stretch over time, and it gives you a slightly different feel, a slightly different level of support, I would say. But in this case, with the shell, E was going to be my only option, because I do have wide feet. I am going to be wearing these a lot more and seeing what type of patina they take on over time. I'm very excited to see, because my collection right now, it's so saturated with Chrome XLs, your more common leathers, and I'm very familiar with Chrome XL, and it's very exciting to get to try out a new type of leather, especially a new type of shell cordovan. I am excited to see how these are going to age, to watch their patina progress, because like I said before, it's unlike anything I've ever had before. One more thing I was going to mention, so when they did arrive, they're so yellow that obviously I'm going to pair these up with my Hazel Sedgwick belt from Pigeon Tree Crafting. Within days of these arriving and me wearing them a couple of times, I decided, you know what? Isaac has some other options on his website for more yellowish type leathers. He has one, it's called the London Tan Sedgwick belt, which in my opinion looks very close. It's a very similar hue of a tan, yellowish tan color. So I wanted to order that from him, and I'm actually in the talks with Isaac now, because he actually thinks that it's possible that his yellow Tarns Joe leather would be a better match. I took screenshots, and I think that the London Tan will be better, but he said that there's so many variations. There's different levels, different hues of the London Tan Sedgwick and the Tarns Joe leathers. He's gonna send me some pictures and let me pick, because they do kind of range all along a color spectrum. I'm gonna order a special belt from him to go with these boots, specifically just to go with these boots. I am on Instagram if you want to follow me there. I'm gonna be posting a bajillion pictures of these as I continue to wear them. My username is AeroSurferLV. You can follow me there and track how these patina. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.